Good morning, Greed Tubs. It's been a while, but I'm still here. So, we had a full night of rain here in my area, Park Estate, in Grenada, and I thought this would be the perfect conditions to come outside and get some edging done. And if you've weeded your garden before, you know the best time to do it is when the soil is moist because it's easier to pluck things out. So, uh, I'm gonna show you how I my weed and edge my garden. I'm in my front garden right now, and I'm gonna show you my progress so far. Still a lot to do, but I think it's coming along really beautifully. If you've been following me, my concept for my garden is sort of like a serenity garden. So I have lots of purples and magentas and pinks, and yeah, so I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've been doing and how I edge and maintain the garden. So the first thing I do is I clean the beds out. I try to pull out all of the weeds, alright, all of the twigs. The grass was recently cut, so there's a lot of grass cuttings in the beds as well. So I clean all of that out, clean out along the plants, and eventually I will mulch this garden, but I just want to get all the plants in first. So mulching is basically a layer of natural materials. In Grenada here, a lot of people use nutmeg shells, and that's really pretty, and it's actually fragrant as well. So it gives your garden a nice aroma. And I'm seeing a couple options in the hardwares here. So eventually I will get to that, but for now I have to weed to keep the beds looking good. And I just use my little shovel here to help me pull the weeds out. Now, the reason this morning is the best time to do this is because it rained, and so the soil is really soft, and it's easier to pull. It's easier to work the soil and get these things out. When I'm finished with pulling the weeds out, I'm gonna come through with my shovel, and normally what I do is I create a shovels with border between the stones, the flower bed, and the grass. And by the way, all of these stones were handpicked from the stream in my backyard, and I think that they create a really nice whimsical border. The purpose of the edge is to keep the grass from growing into the flower beds. So, and I think it just creates a nice distinction between the lawn and the flowers as well. So, I'm almost through with this portion. Lots more to do. Alright, so now I'm ready to edge. Basically what I do is I use the width of the shovel and I just push it through against the rocks, and that's my edging there. And that creates a nice clean border between the stones and lawn. Now what I also like to do is turn the rocks over just to recreate a nice sharp border as well. Of course this is with my design. Some people actually don't use, they just let the border be, but I like the rocks as an extra layer of decorative design. Alright, so this is just a quick panning of my garden. It's been a labor of love to get it this far, and it's Tinkerbell enjoying the shade. Still a lot to do. In another video, as I mentioned, I'll go into detail about the actual plants, but a lot of them are still babies, and they're still coming up, but I hope you can see the general concept. I am really blessed and fortunate to have a really unique landscape naturally, all these huge boulders. I think they add a lot of interest to the yard.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
The smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun.
Alright guys, there you have it. This is my front garden, a work in progress. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Ooh, this took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get it all done, and I'm really happy with how it looks. You know, part of having a beautiful garden is maintaining it, and yeah, weeding and edging is part of the job, part of the gig. But you know, there are a couple of things that you can do to make it easier. One, do it regularly. It just makes it a lot easier. There are less weeds to pull. Two, you know, do it after a rainy night or rainy day. And three, mulching, which I have to do. But all in all, I'm really happy, and I look forward to showing you guys the progress of my garden. Until next time, green thumbs.